There are some things as a Bears fan that I truly, truly wish for, and that is, having our quarterback, which we seem that we do, winning games, especially this early on into the season, and having some semblance of stability within the organization. But the things I didn't want is every other team in this division being good at the same time. Like, what is this? Like, what are we like this? The one time that the Chicago Bears are really good right now, or like starting to get to being good, is when the rest of the division is like, you know what? I will be good as well. If not, I'll be even potential Super Bowl contenders. And I just can't it can't make it easy on us. What is up, guys? Welcome back to Soulback Sports, and I'm so back with another video. And today I just want to talk about the NFC North as a whole and how much of a gauntlet of a division this really is. But before we get into today's video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really means a lot to the channel and really helps me create content like this for you guys. So please subscribe. So, anyways, let's get right into the nitty-gritty of the division because man, oh man, this division is going to be a lot to deal with because, you know, in the beginning of the season, you would say in the preseason as well, that the Vikings were not even thought about being the number one or even the first in the division or have the best record or tied for the best record in the NFL. But I guess here we are because they're beating pretty solid teams with Sam Darnold as their backup. Obviously JJ McCarthy's their future and he went down and it eventually led to them being like, are we going to be even competitive this season? Well, I mean, it is still early on, and they're going to be facing a lot of challenging opponents. So we'll see in that sense, like how they do. Their team as a whole, pretty solid. You have Kevin O'Connell's their head coach. Jefferson's always going to be great. Addison is getting into his stride. Their defense has been outstanding with Brian Flores and the additions they have made. They did lose Daniil Hunter, but they seem to be doing fine with what they have had. And they're starting to develop Dallas Turner as well. So, that's on the defensive side. The offensive side, Kevin O'Connell, that just shows you how great of a head coach he is coming from the Sean McVay tree. Like, he is one of the best head coaches in the NFL right now and potentially even a coach of the year candidate. And, the Lions, after Hutchinson's like gruesome injury, that their playoff aspirations are a little bit in flux, but I don't think it's that much to the point where they are going to have a huge fall off and will make like a Super Bowl or even the playoffs, but they're going to be fine. They're going to find ways. And I think they're going to be pretty active in the the trade deadline coming up soon in November 5th. So be on the lookout for, any NFC North trades and even especially the Lions because they're going to try to go all in as possible for a Super Bowl. Before I talk about the Bears, the Packers as well, they had a scare in the beginning with Jordan Love being out and Malik Willis held the fort down and, the Packers are in there. The entire division, this is the first time I think like for some like I remember I saw some stat where it was like this is the first time the NFC like a division had all four teams have 4+ wins this early on in the season. That's insane. Like you would think it would be like the AFC North or like the what is it, the division called? The AFC West with the Chiefs and, the Broncos and stuff. Like you would think like those teams and like an AFC team would be the one that would claim that title. But as of right now, the NFC North as a whole is 17-5. I'm going to say that again, 17-5 going into week 7. That's just insane. Like you got to think that this is the future of the league. You have, Detroit being a juggernaut. The Bears are up and coming with Caleb Williams and that offense. The Packers with Jordan Love and that young wide receiver core as well. Like, there's a lot of great things about this division as well. And I'm just going to pull up some stats and we can kind of just go over, what how really impressive it is because, predictive ranking, last 5 rankings have been number 1 overall. It's pretty solid. Average power, like look at this average power ranking rating. Like it's been in the top 4 out of all of them. All the quarterbacks. I mean, Malik Willis came in for like 2 games and he threw for 324 yards. So hats off to him because he did pretty solid. But anyways, Sam Darnold, Jordan Love, and Jared Goff and Caleb Williams all having pretty solid seasons. Caleb Williams is coming onto his own. The NFC North players by rushing yards. You see DeAndre Swift is making a comeback, but it's insane how much you know within just what 7 games now, or about to be 7 games, it's like this much yardage, and then the wide receiver group. There's really not much else to say because the real question is, can all four teams make the playoffs? And I think that there is a there is a pretty good chance that all these teams do. Yes, strength of schedule wise, the Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions seem to have a really tough schedule ahead of them. They're ranked to be number one and number two for toughest schedule. And that's because, the Chicago Bears in the last stretch of games are going to have a bunch of division games back to back. Like, we are only starting our division games week 11 onward. So right now we're just finishing all of our other division game, like other outside of our NFC North division games with like the AFC South, and I forgot what the other division was, but then again, no, none of them are NFC North teams. Detroit has to face a gauntlet because they went to the NFC Championship game last year, so they're going to have a lot tougher schedule. But I do see both of them, especially the Chicago Bears. Like, I think that they can do pretty well because I think the one team that could be like a little bit, or two teams that could be a little shaky is Chicago. And bear with me when I say this, Minnesota could potentially be a little bit shaky going into the second half. And let me explain. Minnesota started off the season with being 5-0. And we've seen in the past how they've had, leads or like wins, like leads in well into the season. Most recently in 2022, was it 22? Yeah, 2022 with Kirk Cousins. I'm not saying that they're apples to apples, but they had a history of having like a 10 plus win season, and then they blow it near the end and they got figured out, by the rest of the league. So I'm not saying that's necessarily going to happen. I feel like they have a better coaching scheme and a defensive scheme. And I think Sam Darnold could be pretty solid going into but you have to also keep in mind if he's going to keep up this streak of being a good quarterback through like consistently throughout the season. Like, Vikings fans, let me know down in the comments below because I want to get your opinion on it as well, because I think Sam Darnold is really good. It can do the job well for the Vikings, but I just want to see your perspective on him because he's been doing pretty solid. He's a little shaky near the end of the games, but a win's a win at the end of the day. The Bears, however, as well, like, it really depends on how we finish the rest of the season. Like, our gauntlet of a stretch of games near the end is going to be what determines whether we get into the playoffs or not. And I think we have a really good shot because, Seattle's weaker right now. Oh yeah, it was NFC West teams as well. And there are some games sprinkled within our division games that are going to be pretty straightforward, like Seahawks, Cardinals, Patriots, and the rest of them. I think if we just even split between Packers, Vikings, and Lions, that's already 3 wins right there. And we already have 4 wins, and there's a bunch of easy games as well with like the Seahawks, the Cardinals, and whatnot, and Patriots. So that's like potential 10 wins right there if everything goes to plan. And then Green Bay as well. Like, I'm not saying their schedule is a cakewalk or anything, but it all really depends on, Jordan Love and that young offensive rookie scheme. Like, I know Matt LaFleur is going to be fine. That's why I'm not too worried about the Green Bay Packers, like, destination, because they already made it pretty far last year and they're just going to try to like build off of that. It really just depends on how they finish out the season, how they defensively do well, and, their kicking situation too. So, they got McManus a couple days ago, I think, and I just think that if they just have solid kicking and, special teams along with their defense being consistent, then unfortunately they're probably going to make it pretty far. But anyways, and last but not least, the Lions, because the Lions are a juggernaut. Ben Johnson, hats off to him, man. He's been phenomenal when it comes to like scheming, when it comes to, you know, having a fun offense to watch. Like, if like, Detroit fans must be really happy right now because of how fun the game is. Because last week, yes, you had Hutchinson go down with a gruesome injury, but you had to be honest, like how fun it was to watch that offense, like when it comes to like demolishing the Cowboys and trying to get Penei Sewell and your offensive lineman touchdowns as well. That's got to be pretty cool, and it's pretty, it's kind of crazy because, in a sense it's disrespectful, but it made sense because the Cowboys have, deserved it for so long. But yeah, this is gonna be a pretty fun stretch. I know it's only 6 games, and this is very like very things can really change going into the rest of the season, but it's pretty fun to realize that there is a possibility that all 4 teams from the NFC North could make the playoffs and, face each other potentially like down the stretch of the rounds. And maybe we could even see an NFC North team in the Super Bowl this year too. I'm not saying who, and if the Bears, the Bears maybe. I'm kidding, but I don't know. I think we're too young to do so. But let me know down in the comments below what you guys think about this division. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Or do you just don't care about it? Or let me know down in your comments below which teams in this division, if all of them or some of them, will make the playoffs. Let me know down in the comments below. And as always, remember, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really means a lot to the channel. And I am streaming this Sunday for the Texans and Packers game. So please do check that out. I will be live at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. So check that out. And podcast episodes every Tuesdays and Thursdays. So that's about it. Enough of me rambling. And as always, bear down. And I'll see you guys in the next one.